on his face, "Why you're a deadwood? You're a deadbeat." Yeah, but he was a deadbeat. So see, that's what is problem. The friendship gets in the way. But if you are a friend which you are able to be honest with each other, that's a different story. BB, Jagdish, and Chandrasekhar, they were friends, but they were very complimentary, and they were very open to each other. And I was there to make sure that they were open to each other, at Exodus, and they did extremely well. But by and large, friendship gets in the way of being objective entrepreneur.
From the time you were an entrepreneur to now, there have been a lot more entrepreneurs and a lot more ideas, and the space is getting more and more crowded. And today you think of an idea, it's almost there, or you're working on it, somebody is building it, So in that crowded space, how do you think new entrepreneurs are going to be able to, get a success?
You're assuming that when I started, the place was not crowded. No. So you can bet your bottom dollar that any idea that you have, that 10 other people have the same idea. They're living in the same environment. What you're seeing is same thing they're seeing. So it was always like that. It was always like that, and it will always be like that. So what happens is, the person who's able to put together a team, get the financing and execute, wins. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You are supposed to win in the marketplace, because if you didn't have the competition, you will not feel the urgency. So you're working those 16 hours a day because you want to be out there first, with the product, and you want to do a better job than the other guy, right? So the competition is always there, and will always be there. And by the way, competition is very good for entrepreneurs. So I tell this story to a person, people. If you put a man or a woman on the field and say, run your best mile, right? The person will run maybe 12 minutes, 13-minute mile and say, I did very, very well. Put two of them on the field and see who's better. And the man who ran 12-minute mile, I bet you any money that he will run better than 12 minutes. He may lose still, but he would have done much better than he would have done without competition. So competition forces you to do much better than, forces you to push yourself, right? So competition is what you need to make sure that that you're feeling that heat, that you don't want to miss out the boat, because somebody else, So that will always be the case. Marketplace will always be crowded. It will be even more down the road because Indians and Chinese are going to be competing with you. But in this very role you have, I work with entrepreneurs and I see people coming to me and same ideas. I see 4 or 5 guys, approaching the same problem, from a different perspective. I have never seen an idea which was held by one person alone. So you have to be able to differentiate yourself. Why am I going to win? How am I different? And you need to make sure that you don't carry your deadbeat friends. Because that will hold you down. You have the best possible team, and then you have to execute. And every day, at the end of the day, you have to say, am I still on the right track?
Kanwal, on the average, VCs review 800 business proposals in a year. Out of that, VC invests 1.5 companies in a year. So there are almost 798 business proposals that are tossed out. Mm-hmm. So what are the common mistakes a first entrepreneur makes while approaching a VC?
Just to give you some stats, only 6% of successful entrepreneurs ever get VC funding. 94% of successful entrepreneurs don't have VC funding. So the notion that you have to have VC funding to succeed is a nonsense notion, right? So 94% of people are able to bootstrap, get customer financing, are able to make it work. More often than not, you see an idea which is a me too and a day late. Or somebody watching and says, I can do that 10% better. Or 20% better. So those things are never funded. Those things are never funded. And the funding itself, it's a part of selling yourself. By the way, entrepreneur, above all, is a salesperson. You have to become a super salesperson. First, you have to sell yourself to give a job, to do it. Then you have to sell your family to let you do it. Then you have to sell all these guys to come and work for you who have nice jobs, to leave their jobs and come work for you. Then you have to go to VCs and ask them, sell them on your idea to give you the money before you have anything going for you. So you're always selling. Then you have to go to sell to customers before you have a product. So an entrepreneur is always selling. So if you didn't sell to a VC, it's not their fault. You weren't able to sell, you have to introspect. So I tell people that one of the attributes entrepreneur has to have is to hold himself accountable. Anytime I hear a person, his last startup failed because his engineering guy wasn't able to deliver the product didn't work in time, or the VCs pulled the funding, or the customer didn't buy the product that he promised he would buy. So he's always somebody out there who made him fail. And those guys are not going to succeed as entrepreneurs. They're not fundable anyway. You didn't succeed because I wasn't smart enough to see my guy was falling behind, or his stuff was falling, my technical guy. And I wasn't able to help him. I wasn't smart enough to sell to that VC to keep the funding growing. They put the funding on me because I wasn't able to see that customer was unhappy with me. So it's your fault. It's always your fault. So you have to hold yourself accountable. As soon as you start to externalize the blame or the problem, you're failed. And entrepreneurs are the ones who are going to make the difference. And so that's how it starts. It's you and you alone who's going to make the difference. And if you're falling behind, he says, how do I make sure that, And by the way, so I made the point, a first-time entrepreneur is an even bet. I don't know who's going to succeed. It's a randomly distributed gene. And I can tell up to a point, and I have done fairly well picking the entrepreneurs, 40% odds. That's been my hit rate. Of the companies I've bet, 40% have done well, which is, by the way, extremely good. Most of the people have over 10 to 15% odds. The second-time entrepreneur, the one who succeeds first time, is a very poor bet. And I'll give you that one. The one who has failed first time is a very good bet. Because now he has paid tuition on somebody else's expenses. He has twice the fire in his tummy. He knew what he missed. He knew where he wasn't paying attention. His senses are very sharp now. So you have to look for the downside. Long before you look for the upside. Because downsides are what will get you. Something will bite you from the left field that you weren't expecting. That happens a lot more than this lucky break that you've done. Lucky breaks are not what you look for. You look for to make sure that you minimize all these random events that will kill you. And so a successful entrepreneur is the one who outlasts the others in the marketplace. The one who has done very, very well first time, and I can use names, but I shouldn't have to use names. They think they have the formula. They think they have the formula. It's like a gambler in Las Vegas, who hits the jackpot. He says he has the formula, and he starts feeding that machine over and over, right? So that's one problem. There's no formula. Every time you have to make sure that you put it together, you execute, you have the customer market understanding that you need to have. A first-time successful entrepreneur starts to delegate. He got used to delegating because by the time he succeeded, he had the staff around him. He had admin. First time he was making his own phone calls, and he was doing his own reservations, and he was doing everything on his own. Now he has people. He's able to delegate. And of course, he already drives a Mercedes, right? And takes European vacations, because that's what result of the previous success. So he doesn't have the same fire. He's not going to transform his life.